I think there are a number of proposals that are coming through the legislature that we're going to have to assess whether they do real harm or not. And I think, you know, the Health and Human Services Committee, I think we're very blessed to have a chairman, Andrew Bettine from Westbrook, who is a very bright individual and a great Health and Human Services Committee team. But I'd say stay tuned, because that is just beginning. We have not yet really had that debate yet, but our focus is really on creating job opportunities for individuals and making sure that they have the supports that they need to connect those dots to a higher income so that they can transition off of any type of public assistance. So we're winding down to 7:30. I think I can see maybe one or two hands still go up, but I just wanted to give people a warning on the time. Maybe two more questions. Yes?
Thank you first. I'm a lifelong Mainer, resident of Brunswick. It's a long-time Christian Republican, fiscal conservative, proud conservation, prosperity. I wrote out a long way, not going to read the time and the place, but I have one question that I haven't heard addressed yet. And it's about, especially interested in our public lands and our state parks. My understanding is that the budget would essentially dismantle the parks and lands, which have dire consequences for the long-term stewardship of our state parks and our state forests. What is your budget?
So the question is about the Bureau of Public Lands and the governor's proposal to really gut that and what is our plan. There's nothing specific in that plan, but I think there is good news for you and others that care about our public lands. The committee, the Agriculture, Conservation, and Forestry Committee, has really come together to do their homework and reject many of the things that the governor has put forward. Republicans and Democrats have taken it very seriously. I'm very proud of those members. So as it relates to the governor's proposed budget, I think it's going to be highly modified. Many things are going to be rejected in it. Nothing is done until it's done. It is hard to make predictions in terms of where we're going to land, but I think we're off to a good start, and thank you for highlighting that and being here. The other big thing that has been talked about is the Land Claims Future bonds that are not being released. Projects are moving forward. Funding has been secured based on these bonds being released. It is putting many land trusts in a dire situation. A lot of pressure, I think, is building on the governor around that, but there's no movement at this point. What the proposal is for the governor is, I'll release these bonds that the people have already approved if we cut more on public lands.
That was in my rant.
I think we should go forward with this rant. But no, thank you for bringing that up. That is not specifically in our plan, but it is part of something we're highly focused on.
And I would just say, just to highlight Senator Briggs, we had a very, very successful event just a week ago where she highlighted two really, really important projects for Lands Maine Future. We've had a bunch of people, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, all coming out and saying, look, these projects are way down the line. People have put money on the line, communities, investors, there is interest being paid, and the final piece of the puzzle is the governor signing off. And there should be no extraction for that. The voters have spoken, and, you know, again, highlighting some of our colleagues across the aisle, Republican Roger Cates introduced a bill to say, you know what, Governor, you don't have the authority to block voter-approved bonds like Land Claims Future.
Going along similar to what his question is, the governor's proposal is to cut those trees down and use that lumber to help elderly heat their houses for the wintertime. What's the objection to that, and why is that such a roadblock?
So, great question. You know, the idea that the governor has is cut more lumber on our public lands and he's put a number to it, around $5 million to pay for retrofits of heating, and especially the elderly low income. There is absolutely no objection to the final use. There's objection to the sustainability of this proposal, and you don't have to take my word for it or the speaker's word for it. You know, the committee that all they do is think about conservation, they said this is just too much. The acreage that you're asking to cut in addition to what we know is sustainable is not something we feel comfortable with. But the contrast is, and I think this can't be not said, is that while the governor is proposing to spend $5 million on retrofitting seniors and low-income homes, he's also blocking $38 million in efficiency with the Efficiency Maine Trust with a little word called "and." So this is what I think the governor does really well. He's one of the best politicians our state has ever seen, and he puts us in these wedges. And so he's talking out of one side of his mouth saying, guys, Mark, Justin, you guys, let's help the elderly, low income with this $5 million. On the other side, he's blocking $38 million in pure efficiencies, which would include the same $5 million. So we believe the "and" should go back in. I hope the Senate will follow the House with a very strong vote. Sometimes we all got to read a little deeper than what is being said, and what the governor is sharing with the state of Maine is not the whole story.
So we wanted to thank everybody for being here this evening. We are almost at 7:30. I really appreciate the public dialogue. We've done 3 of these now, and it's been extraordinary. You're here because you care, you're engaged in your community. Brunswick and the surrounding communities are great communities. A lot is at stake. Don't let this be the last time we talk about this. As Senator Alfond said, pick up the phone, talk to your legislator, write a letter to the editor. This is really a high-stakes game, and we have about 6 to 8 weeks to finish it. We are at the table trying to negotiate the best deal for Mainers as it relates to prioritizing a middle-class tax cut, property tax relief, and spending in education for our kids' future. So please stick around. I'll be around. I think Jess will be around as well. It is 7:30. We want to end it to respect folks' time, but thank you guys for being here this evening.